I don't even know where to start.
I'm not sure there's anything better than coming home to a box that says live plants on it. I was so excited to see this box come from Walter's Gardens. They are a wholesale perennial grower that grows a lot of the proven winners plants. They reached out to me and asked if they could send me a couple of plants to trial in my garden, and of course I said yes, super quick. So I've got my little helper here and we are unboxing these beautiful perennials, and now we can chat about them.
Where do I even begin? I just unboxed all of these gorgeous perennials and now I want to tell you about it. These beautiful perennials came from Walter's Gardens. I am trialing them in my garden and I am so excited to tell you all about them. Each one has this influencer sample sticker and it's just making me laugh because I am the most easily influenced person on the planet, and to consider myself an influencer just makes me laugh because I'm pretty sure I buy more than I influence. So I'm not sure I'm going to influence anyone with any of these plants, but I am absolutely thrilled to add them to my garden and tell you how they grow. And if they are winners, you will be hearing all about them in update videos, because the backbone of my garden are perennials, and good perennials are so worth it. These are the plants that are gonna come back year after year in your garden and just get better and better. So that's why I put most of my money in perennials, and then I try to do annuals, honestly, as cheaply as I can, because I want my money coming back and multiplying year after year. So if you think about it, perennials are really investments, right? Like you put your money in a stock or a 401k and it compounds over the years. Think about your perennials like that. You're getting more and more every year. My husband would absolutely not approve of that message. So let's get started and talk about the plants. Let's start off with the shade perennials. Designing shade gardens are one of my favorite things because there are so many great options that have incredible foliage. I mean, look at the diversity of the color just here in these 4 perennials. Let's go through them one by one and talk about them. I'm gonna start and go shortest to kind of tallest. This one is the first one. This is Fun and Games Capture the Flag Heucherella. Here is a picture of what it looks like when it's mature. Heucherellas are a hybrid between heucheras and tiarellas. Tiarellas give you this really cool serrated leaf shapes. Heucheras give the really fun colors. The trick with heucherellas is that they want really nice draining soil. Here in Atlanta, we have a lot of clay, so this is a plant that you'd really want to amend the soil well before planting. Another thing about heucheras or heucherellas to note is that the darker the color of the leaf, the more sun that this can take. This is a really nice highlighter yellow color. It's a beautiful accent against kind of your blue hostas or dark green foliage like this. This coloration of heucherella I would put in the deepest shade to protect it, while one of the darker purple ones can tolerate some more sun. That's just kind of an easy thing to remember to have better success with heucherellas in your garden. This heucherella is gonna stay under 10 inches, so it's definitely one that you'd wanna have towards the front of your border. And it does bloom. Really, I love it for the foliage. In zone 7B, 8A Atlanta area, this is an evergreen foliage. It does start looking a little aged in the late summer and fall, but it should come back beautifully year after year as long as the soil is well draining and you plant with the crown above the soil level, so that if we have really wet, soggy winters, you don't get root rot or crown rot with this heucherella. All right, next up, I believe this is new for 2024. This is Jack of Diamonds Heartfelt Brunnera. I will admit that in Atlanta, Brunnera has a really hard time thriving. I would say that if you are to plant Brunnera in the south, put it in the deepest shade possible, which honestly is gonna be great because this type of silvery foliage will reflect the light and will really bright up a shady spot. But you're gonna wanna put Brunnera in a really deep shade if you are in the south. It does have incredible flowers, a true light blue in early spring, but really you grow it for this gorgeous foliage. So both of these guys are going to be kind of your front of the border, deep shade plants if you're in the south. This guy gets to about 10 inches. This one will get up to 16 inches in bloom. Let's move on to hostas. If you've been following me for a while, you know I absolutely love hostas, and this one has the ruffled edges, which is a gorgeous shape. This is Shadowlands Echo the Sun. This looks like an incredible hosta. It is new for 2024. I'm really excited to plant it. You're gonna wanna plant a hosta like this next to a contrasting color. So if you have any red heucheras in your garden, if you have blue hostas, this is gonna contrast beautifully and just really pop in a shade garden. I love adding chartreuse colors, silvery colors into a shade garden because you can see it from a distance and it just is such a highlight in a shady garden. Hostas do flower. This one is gonna get a lavender flower. The hummingbirds absolutely love hosta flowers, so I keep them around for them and then I snip them off so that I can enjoy the leaves because that's primarily why I plant them in the garden. Okay, and last up, let's get on to the tallest plant for the shade. This is Peppermint Patty Pipsqueak or Virginia. This is an absolute gorgeous, gorgeous perennial that flowers in the shade. The flowers on this one are white and pink, which is absolutely stunning. And check out the size of these beautiful leaves. Nice and shiny and healthy. This is a great one to plant instead of hostas as the deers and the bunny leave Pipsqueak alone. So those are the perennials I got in my box that are the shade perennials. Let's move on to the sun perennials now. Oh my gosh, is there anything better than being surrounded by perennials? I am so excited. Let's go through these one by one and talk about them. I'm gonna go again from shortest to tallest, and that means I'm starting with this beautiful Artemisia ground cover. This is an Artemisia, I believe it's new for 2024. It is silver lining. It is one of those great sensory plants. And again, silver in the garden is going to reflect the light and really shine. This is going to be quite the stunner for a ground cover. It has these beautiful reflective leaves. This is full sun. It gets about 12 to 16 inches tall. So beautiful front of the border ground cover plant that'll look good all season long. Moving on, I believe this is in garden centers now. This is Dicentra Pink Diamond. Look at those blooms and you can see them here too. This is a beautiful short front of the border full sun Dicentra. Yeah, I know. Dicentras that are full sun. So I believe this is an alpine type plant. So this is going to be another plant that if you have clay soil, you're going to want to really amend it before planting. But this is just beautiful. I love anything silvery or blue foliage. And of course, who doesn't love that type of texture for a full sun front of the border plant? Just by looking at this, I can tell it's kind of a longer blooming perennial. You can see these are stalks that have already bloomed out. These are just opening up and you can see down here, or maybe you can see, yeah, down here, there are new buds forming, which means I think this is gonna have a long lasting flower power, which is perfect. I try to focus on perennials versus annuals and I need things that bloom for a long time. So I'm gonna be testing this out and updating you. If this is one that blooms for a long time, I'm gonna be buying more of this because how stunning is that foliage and that beautiful pink bloom. All right, next up, did I say how tall this was? This one grows to 16 inches tall, so still kind of that front of the border plant. Next up is this coneflower. This is double coated butter pecan. Look at those fluffy blooms. It says that they are going to get 4 inches across. I love fluffy blooms and I absolutely love this soft yellow color in the garden. I'm so excited about these. Coneflowers do really well in my garden. I have really good luck with powwow white. I've heard that the double coneflowers can revert back to single, but time will tell. And this is such a great color that even if it reverts, it'll still be worth having in the garden. This coneflower gets about 18 to 20 inches tall. It would pair absolutely beautiful with the silvery foliage or with purples. Can you imagine? I'm really excited to get this in the garden, and if it does well, I will be ordering more. Next tallest is this purple sedum that actually I think would go so lovely with this echinacea. This is, what is this name? This is Rock and Grow Midnight Velvet Stonecrop. Stonecrop is one of those plants that if you don't grow, you need to get on your list. It's so easy to grow. drought tolerant, doesn't really need any special care, special soil, doesn't want to be fertilized. You plant it, from there you can divide it, spread it around your garden. The most important thing is to just make sure the sedum is planted in full sun, and then it'll be happy and provide quite the show for you. This looks like a beautiful purple upright sedum. Gives beautiful color in the late summer. So normally this is greenhouse grown, so it's already ready to go. But normally this is a late summer bloomer, and it'll kind of bloom into fall and provides food for your pollinators when other things aren't blooming. I have other varieties of sedum such as Autumn Joy and Autumn Charm. I've had great luck with those. They're always covered with pollinators in the summer. So I'm so excited to get this in the garden and see how this grows as well. Last but not least, let's talk about the tallest perennial. This is going to grow 34 inches tall. These beautiful big pink blooms. This is Luminary Prismatic Pink Phlox. I love upright phloxes in the garden. The real problem with some varieties is powdery mildew in the summer. This is supposed to be bred to be powdery mildew resistant, and so you'll get those beautiful phlox blooms without any disease in your garden. I'm going to plant this next to Opening Act Pinkadot Phlox. It's an early blooming phlox that blooms in the mid to late spring period, and it looks like this one will bloom right after to continue the show. It looks like it's about the same height, so I'm really excited to plant this next to it so that I can keep the phlox blooms going in that bed, because once you plant upright phlox, you will absolutely fall in love with those blooms. They are such high impact and such great growers. Really excited to get these in my garden and trial them. I will let you know how these grow and which ones are winners and ones that I will be buying more of. As you know, if you followed me in the past and seen any of my other videos, I actually really love trialing plants, and that's how I've designed my garden. Is I will buy one of a variety that I'm interested in, plant it, see how it does that year. If it performs well and does great and comes back strong, then I will place the order for 2 to 4 more so that I have odd number drifts throughout my garden, because that's more visually appealing for the eye. But honestly, every garden is so different, so I encourage you to do the same. It takes about an extra year of things looking a little funky, but what I do is I've set up different beds in my garden that I use to kind of trial plants and see how they do. That way, when I pull the trigger on a drift, I'm not throwing away money because I've already trialed them and have some experience. Thank you for watching my unboxing video, and thank you, Walter's Garden, for sending me these fun plants to trial. I can't wait to get them in the ground. And if you're interested in how they do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can follow along to my garden journey.